What's up, y'all? Welcome to another successful Sundays. I'm, of course, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. And welcome, welcome, welcome. So, today we're actually going to be talking about, well, we're always talking about important topics, but today we're going to be covering boundaries and how to set boundaries without n- kind of like navigating through the emotions of feeling guilty. Because I think that even with myself, with setting boundaries throughout let's say the last like good 5 6 years, one of the things that always came up was guilt, which would prevent me from setting boundaries. So I wanted to just kind of bring this topic to you all so we can kind of like navigate it together a bit more deeper. Okay, so first things first, we're going to take 3 deep breaths. We're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth, just to kind of center ourselves, and just anything that's been heavy, we're going to release it, because today's the first day of the week. So we are going to set ourselves up for success moving onward. All right, so I invite you to close on your eyes if you would like to, and inhale through your nose, sigh it out. 2 more times. Inhale through your nose. Sigh it out. One last time. Inhale through your nose. And sigh it out. Okay. Let's get into it. All right. Let's waste no time. One of the things that could be a sign of why you need to set boundaries, because you've watched the videos, okay, you've saved them, you've watched the podcasts, you've jotted down the notes perhaps, but you probably even have an inkling of, okay, I should set a boundary. That word should comes in, but you're still having the feeling of guilt, which is preventing you from setting the boundaries. And you know what, you're in the right spot, because hopefully you're gonna have a bit of an idea of how you could set a boundary moving forward. And I'm gonna say, like, setting a boundary does take time, and a great way to start is setting a boundary with yourself. I used to think that setting a boundary is mean and selfish, and something that's just out of my character, not kind, not compassion. But in the long run, I realized that you not setting a boundary is actually you being almost mean to yourself in a way. And I'll get more deep into that. So boundaries itself, because this, I'm not gonna lie to you, this live is not about what a boundary is. It's more about how could we execute the boundary, getting an idea of why they may fail, and then I'm going to give you the framework that I've used for the last few years, and with clients as well, of like how you could implement them. And again, please give yourself grace. Boundaries do take time, okay? And I'll break down why. So boundaries themselves, you'll set a boundary because you already know what a boundary is. You'll set it, and then immediately after you set the boundary, that's where the guilt will creep in. And what do? We just cave. We say, okay, forget it. I'm not going to set the boundary. I feel bad. We're just not going to do it. Right. Now, what happens when we also set the boundary or we avoid to set it? Avoidance will kick in. And what avoidance will turn into over time is resentment. And resentment could turn into anger, frustration, emotions of just a very hot level, right? Next thing is, let's say, for example, you've set a boundary, but it's not enforced. It's too, let's say, for example, it's too vague. It leaves them feeling sorry, it leads to them just ignoring your boundary to begin with, right? Or it's too vague and you have it confused with ultimatums or punishment. You have that feeling I talked about of selfishness and being mean. That part kicks in. So I'm going to be very blunt with you. No boundaries, you not setting any boundaries, is one of the most expensive things you could ever do, because it's costing you exhaustion, burnout, your loss of self, your energy, your own peace. So it's costing you a lot. But I want to also put in, and I hope that I'm going to probably repeat this multiple times throughout the live today, is boundaries are not walls, but they're guidelines of how people should treat you in a healthy manner. They're not walls. You're not putting up walls. We want people in our lives. Well, most of us want people in our lives, right? We want to have that communication, companionship, friendships, all of that good stuff. So we're not setting boundaries to keep people out of our lives. We're setting boundaries to let them in, but let them in a healthy manner. Not that leaves you feeling exhausted, burnt out, lost of yourself, and low energy, and your peace is being disrupted. Now, we're going to talk about the framework that I use to kind of break down how to set a boundary. First things first, let's say right now, you know you need to set a boundary. Congratulations, that's the very first step. And this step is sometimes skipped, and it needs to not be skipped because you can't set a boundary if you don't have an idea of what boundary you even want to set. So I have a couple notes here because I've been working on this. So a couple things that you want to think about setting up enough space is, where do you feel drained? Where do you feel disrespected? Where do you feel as if you want to say no, but you consistently say yes, and you feel almost like bullied into that? So what you could do is you can write down three boundaries that you want to set, where it's like time, emotional, and energy. And I'm going to give you, I wrote down some here, but I'm going to give you some examples just to kind of get your hamster wheel going. So, for example, a time boundary, you could have no emails after 6 p.m. if you're able to do so. I'm giving an example. Maybe it's after 8 p.m. depending on what job you have, or it's after 9, depending on what kind of work you're in or whatever it is that you're working on. Even if you're an entrepreneur, same thing, right? An emotional boundary that you could, or more of an energy boundary. No, emotional boundary is 24 hours to process maybe a conflict. Again, that's just a number. You could give, you know what, I just need 2 hours, give me like an hour, just let me just process what just occurred. I'm gonna reel and come back again. Like, that's something you can have as a boundary as well. And energy boundary is, you may need 1 day out of the month, out of the week, where you're just completely alone. Maybe that's a boundary that you could set as well. And but it's we're just getting down to identifying what you need. That's the whole point. Getting to identify what you need so that you can get into the next step, which is communicating. When you're setting a boundary, it's very important that you communicate clearly. And you're going to have to repeat yourself more than once. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to have to, which is step 3. But it's important that you communicate clearly. Like, let's say, for example, you have a friend or someone that is constantly dumping on you, and it's leaving you feeling exhausted by the end of the conversation. What you can do is, now you can say, you know what? I care about you. Trust me, I do. You're my peoples. But I can't be the only one supporting you. You're not telling them to go F off and go somewhere else. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying, like, I'm still here for you, but there needs to be a balance. You need more support than I'm able to give. Right. So it's very important that you're clear and concise about it. And don't hint. You have to state it. You can't be vague. You cannot be too vague on it. You have to state it clearly. 3, you're gonna get pushback. You're gonna get pushback because you have, and that's 4, which is the guilt part. And I'll break that part down. But you have been, in a sense, people pleasing for so long. So you're gonna have to repeat this on a regular, probably more than once, like a broken record, unfortunately, because they will be upset. But at the end of the day, they'll be okay. Who cares if they're upset for a little bit? They're gonna be okay. But if you continue on that path and you're afraid of the pushback, and I know that guilt will come in, you're human, you have a heart, but you're pushing back also on yourself by not setting the boundary. By you not putting yourself first, like number one, and saying, I'm noticing X, I don't like X. This is what I will do as a result if X is not being met, right? And then 4, guilt, which is what we've been talking about. The guilt is normal, especially if you've been people pleasing for far so long. The guilt is part of it. And the best thing you could do is just, and as you can see here, I broke it down in 3 more steps, is remind yourself, you're not being selfish, you're being selfful to yourself. If anything, you're feeling the guilt because it's a part of growth. If you've been rocking with me for a while, I've said growth is uncomfortable at first. Growth was never meant for it to be a walk in the park. You are going to ruffle some feathers. You are going to break down some layers that your ancestors probably been carrying, but now you're doing it. Now you're saying, I get it, but we could do better here, right? And this is where the part that a lot of us, I hope this hit home, is check who's feeling comfortable. Who are you prioritizing? while you're sacrificing your own well-being for their comfort. You're sacrificing your health, exhaustion, burnout, loss of self, energy, and peace for their comfort. So with you not setting a boundary, you're sacrificing all of those things for them to feel chill, but you're sitting on pins and needles the entire time. Because remember, setting a boundary is not about the walls that you're putting up, because we're not putting up any walls. We're setting guidelines to allow people into your life in a healthy manner. In a healthy manner. At the same time, in the same breath, when it comes towards setting boundaries, those who will respect it. They'll understand it. They'll embrace it. And when you're setting boundaries, you're going to notice who will not. You're going to notice when you do get the pushback a lot. Where is it? The pushback, right? You're going to pay attention to that, because if they cared 1000% about you, the pushback would be like, you know what? Okay, I hear you. Done. Done. No more conversation. But if you constantly feel like they're pushing back and they're constantly testing it, and then they set in that guilt, which leads you to say, all right, fine, I'm just gonna avoid this whole thing because this way I don't gotta hear it from them. Disrupt the pattern. Disrupt the pattern. You setting a boundary for yourself is putting you at the forefront, not putting them behind, but it's you respecting yourself. I'm gonna say it one more time. Boundaries are not walls, y'all. They are guidelines for how you let people in to treat you at a healthy manner. We're not having people in our lives to kind of like not have people in life. We want people in our lives. We're humans. But at the same time, in the same breath, we want them to respect us. So we don't have to feel like we're feeling selfish, even though it's a natural feeling, for saying, you know what, no, like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to take calls after 8 p.m. but I'll respond to a text message. That's one of my rules. I do not respond to emails unless it's time pressing. I don't respond to phone calls, and some text messages I won't respond until the next day. And that's just, it is what it is. But it's just me respecting myself, because at that point I need to shut down. I need to give myself that. And just remember, if you are not setting a boundary, it is very expensive. Exhaustion, burnout, body. This is physical. This is all physical stuff. I'm not a doctor. I'm definitely not a doctor, but this is all physical stuff. We pay for it eventually at some point. Loss of yourself, your energy, your peace. If anything, I would say like almost this is the most expensive thing. To be fair, exhaustion, burnout, you can eventually recover from this. But even burnout, to get out of burnout isn't just like a spa day. It's not retail therapy. It's not you binging on the couch and watching your favorite Netflix show. That helps. Don't get me wrong. But burnout takes a long time to work through. It takes a significant time for you to work through that. And one of the reasons why is because, yeah, you've been people pleasing for so long. You've been saying yes to people for so long. You've been putting other people first for so long. Like this, even in the world that we're in right now, the world that it's set up is to almost destroy us in an odd way. This world is almost set up to destroy us. That when we think about boundary, we think about it being mean and selfish, right? But at the end of the day, stuff like this is what we need to lean into more, like wellness, you putting yourself first, um, self improvement, mindset, all these things is like the best investment you can put into yourself at this very moment, primarily because, and this is not me just talking, primarily because the system is set up for many of us to fail. I talked about it in yesterday in a video I posted about luxury, and how some of the things that we take for granted is the luxurious thing that we could ever have. Right now, you're on your phone right now watching me do this. Some people would love to watch this, but they don't have access. So when you think about a boundary that you're setting in your life, understand you're setting the boundary to protect yourself from feeling exhaustion, feeling burnt out, from losing yourself, protecting your energy, and allowing you to live in peace. That's what it's all about. I'm going to end off with this one. I'm going to say it one more time. Boundaries are not walls, but guidelines for how people can be in your life in a healthy manner. So anytime you feel about the guilt, just remember that. You're not setting the boundary to keep people out of your life. You're setting the boundary to let a lot of people in. You want people to be in your life, but you want them to be in your life in a healthy manner. You understand? All right. Well, that's the end of my live today. I hope you're able to get some really good gems out of it. I appreciate you guys rocking on the Successful Sundays. I will be here next Sunday. I should be. Yeah, I should be here next Sunday. I appreciate y'all. The new episode of the Dope Life Podcast will be dropping this Tuesday. The link is in my bio to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And we're talking about a really good topic there. And I hope y'all enjoy it. It's more about a little bit more about me and a personal standpoint of how something that I didn't think would teach me anything taught me a whole lot, and how it could help you even in your personal professional life today. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on Tuesday at the podcast. Check it out, and I'll see you guys next week, Sunday. Y'all have a great week. Y'all have a great Sunday. Y'all will know what to do. Walk with peace and walk with love.